Not my voice, but my volume on. I should be number 2. Testing. Okay, that's better. I got a nice buzz going.
You're live.
Oh, we're live? Okay, we're live. What's going on, Gus? So we got RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting, and Wise Media Group. We're streaming on 2 different YouTube channels and 2 different Facebooks. And I have Gus Cruz here with me today. How are you doing, Gus?
Good, bro. Thanks for having me here.
Yes. So quick backstory. I met Gus not even a week ago. We've got this cool spot down here called what's that office place called? Oh man, now it's gonna elude me.
Cool spot.
So there's it's like a community where it's people that are entrepreneurs, business owners, they rent office space there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a Google Hangout. Like you've got all these like just open desks and people are being creative, people are dribbling basketballs. So I've always thought it was a pretty neat place, and I was looking for some positive energy. And I went in there Saturday just to see what was going on. And there's 2 guys sitting at a table doing a podcast. And it was, I guess you were kind of running it, and it was your equipment they were using.
That's correct. Well, the audio equipment is their stuff, but my stuff was just the video.
Okay, the video cameras and whatnot. Groundswell, that's what it's called. Groundswell in Melbourne, Florida. If anybody's looking for a place to go start your business, you need cheap office space, go check out Groundswell.
And inspiration, obviously.
Dude, inspiration was off the hook that day. So you and I kind of vibed pretty quick. I was actually talking to somebody else, and you were there, and we were kind of talking about what I do on YouTube, and you were like, hey, let me show you some of the stuff that I do. And you got this really cool channel that we're going to talk about a little bit. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and kind of start from the beginning.
Oh man, that's a long story, right? So let me just bring down some bullet points. Well, number 1, I'm a husband and father of 4 beautiful little children. And now I've been creating my own, I started my own business 2 years ago, where I'm a content creator that just happens to do videos.
How did you get into doing the videos though? Because I think that's where, because your background from what you told me doesn't typically, similar to my story, doesn't typically seem like somebody that would be into such a cool career.
So I worked in the nonprofit world for over 10 years. I was able to, travel to developing countries, see the poverty firsthand, where children and families are looking through the trash cans and mountains of trash just to get something to sell so they can eat that day. And we always travel with videographers, and I always was amazed, how equipped they were, how creative they were, how they're able to, to not just film, but tell the story. I would always ask questions. And when you work in the nonprofit world, you may probably know, you have to have so many different hats. You're not only fundraising, you're not only public speaking, but also you're trying to find ways that you can market your the story of your organization and find new ways. So I got a little into marketing as well as storytelling, and then just visuals. So I got really, really interested. And then, I had a camera from a long time ago that a friend of mine, I used to hire him to do videos. This guy did videos for like Drake, done stuff with LeBron. This guy's real legit in South Florida. And I knew him since he was a kid. So I'm like, man, if he can do it, I can probably do a little something similar. But I got inspired the way he would edit, man, the way he would just shoot things, He directed, movies or whatever we hired him for. So I got inspired from that. But it wasn't until I got into church, that I'm like, this church in Miami that I love so much. They're like, hey, how can you help us? And I'm like, well, I have a camera. Let me do a video because you guys have no videos. And we did this cool little 2-minute videos of cafecito, because they have this cafecito in the mornings. For anybody know cafecito, it's like the Cuban coffee and stuff. But it was cool, man. I thought that I did an okay job, and it became an expensive hobby. And from there, it took off to a point that I had to be out of my job to be able to start my own business.
And you're from Miami, correct? I mean, not born in Miami,
not
or
born
maybe
in Miami.
I don't know.
No, raised in Miami.
So raised in Miami, and now you live
in Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie.
The mean streets of Port St. Lucie, bro.
It's quite the different world from Miami, isn't it? How long have you been in PSL now?
Oh man, actually right around the pandemic. We moved in July of 2020.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting as well. That's before the market went really up. I probably wouldn't even be able to afford anything up here. But yeah, it's very different. I mean, I still go to Miami because all my clients are there.
Right.
So
you spend a lot of time traveling.
Yeah, a lot of times in the car. So I get my SXM, listen to some podcasts, music, sports, anything, to let my 2-hour drive go by fast.
And this is what you do full time now, correct?
Full time.
Okay.
Yeah, full time.
It's pretty crazy quitting a job, right? Not crazy, but like the mindset of I'm going to quit my job and I have to go make this happen for myself because I can't just show up and get a paycheck. I've got to like create concept, come up with ideas, get out there and shake hands, talk to people. It's a different world.
The blanket of being comfort, the comfort blanket that a job provides can be deadly as well.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's not like I quit. It's more like I kind of kicked myself out of a job. I had so many contracts and so much work that my heart and mind was no longer in the nonprofit that I was at. So one mistake led to many mistakes because my heart and mind and passion was no longer there. That they're like, look, man, you got to wise up. You got to go. And I ended up, having to let go and stuff. It was hard. But because of the relationships and contracts that I had over those 2 years of me learning how to do videos, I felt comfortable. It was scary, but comfortable.
And you've got you did not go to school for videography or editing or the creativity.
YouTube Academy.
YouTube Academy. That's probably the best academy you can go to.
And the cheapest.
The cheapest, yes. And you get the most value. Everything that I've been able to accomplish so far when it comes to videoing, creating, studios and whatnot.
Congrats on this, by the way.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. Joe Rogan inspires me.
Hey.
I try to give off the Joe Rogan vibe as much.
You got to go bald then, bro.
I got to go bald. Yeah. And I got to get a little more political.
There you go.
I got to start throwing out some racial slurs or something if I want to get on Joe Rogan's level.
Do something and talk about weed and, go beat up some comedians that are stealing people's jokes.
There we go. That's a way to do it. But you also have, and the reason why we're streaming this on 2 channels, we're on RDAP Dan, which is my prison consulting, prison reform YouTube channel. And we're also streaming on Wise Media Group, is more of what we do for our production company. So those of you that haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Wise Media Group, make sure you go out and check that out. And as you can see, scrolling on the bottom of the screen, if you want to follow our buddy here today on the bottom of the screen, you should see it. What's your handle again, Gus?
Cruise on Camera.
Cruise on Camera, which is scrolling on the screen as we speak. It's scrolling, right, Andre?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Andre, we got Andre on the mic. How you doing this morning, Andre?
I'm doing fantastic.
We have no cameras on Andre because we had to use the camera port for other purposes.
I want my own camera moving forward.
You want your own camera.
Yeah.
But Andre is a radio voice, not a
radio face.
Not a radio face.
That's what people keep telling me.
So take us a little bit back, because you've had some run-in with the laws that I imagine when after you're running with the laws, if you decide you want to get back into the world of working, there's some obstacles you had to run across, which I'm assuming influence a little, or maybe poked the entrepreneur in you to kind of jump out of a shell a little bit quicker.
Yeah, you were pushed into it, right? Well, back in 1999, I was in my senior year of high school, and man, I was addicted to drugs, mainly ecstasy. That was the only drug I had tried when I was 18, by the way. It's not like I was a weed head and all that. I should have been. But when I stopped doing the drug, I felt this void inside my heart, a complete void. I felt spiritually dead.
What was that drug again? I had to tell Andre.
It's ecstasy.
Ecstasy. Okay.
Yeah. So when I stopped, because, you go from 1 pill to 2 pills to 3 pills, you're like, okay, I've seen this story before. So many people were dying off so many pills. And so when I stopped, I just felt that void inside in darkness. And I felt like life was a joke. I had no purpose, no desire to do anything. So some friends of mine, came into my class and like, hey, we're going to rob a house, just get some money for prom. Now, I didn't need the money. I had a job. I had actually had my own place in senior year, but what I did not have was a purpose. And I had no life. I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting, I need something to energize me or something. It was just stupid as hell. But make a long story short, 6 months later, one of them got caught doing other stuff. They snitched on me. I confessed to the crime, and I got charged with home invasion. So I was looking at 25 to 30 years in Broward County. I felt ashamed of everything that I basically did. So I ended up doing altogether 4 years. And literally We're here in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
Brevard?
Yep.
I was 35 miles from here at Brevard Correctional Institution for 2 years.
Wow. Yeah. I thought you said you were in Brevard when
Yeah.
you told me. I thought maybe you said Broward, but you were so
Yeah.
you were in Brevard County Jail.
Well, I got arrested in Broward, but when you go to prison, they take you out.
Right.
You know, so I was in 855 Camp Road, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, scary.
Yeah.
But I was there for some time, man.
So that you actually went to state prison.
State prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your biggest memory about prison, other than you don't want to be there, but good and bad?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I had 2 stints, right? The first stint, when I got out on probation. But man, in Florida, you come back in violation no matter what, especially if your lifestyle is still not living the way it should be.
There you go. I think that's probably the reason. You come back when your life's not living the way you should be.
It should be. But interesting, I got arrested again for a crime I didn't even commit. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But because I was on probation, you know, I had no bond.
Right. So
I had to stick it out and take it to trial and whatnot, which ended up after a year and a half of taking it to trial, because, you know, Broward can take their time. You good?
Yeah. No, we lost the
the visuals.
Oh, there it is. It came back. Right. Okay.
So yeah, after a year and a half, you know, they dismissed the case. But now, even though I did dismiss the case, I still got to go see my
probation.
Well, because I violated just by getting arrested, I got to go see the judge again.
Okay.
So I ended up doing 2 more years within the county, though, not in state. So prison was easier. For the food was better, sleeping was better, more freedom to go to the gym,
right?
You know, play some sports, be out in the sun. But I hated it.
Right.
I hated prison to a point that I can't tell you that I remember most of it, because I completely blocked it. As soon as the judge said you got 2 years followed by 4 years probation, in my mind, I blocked pain. It's probably the biggest mistake too, and I'll tell you why. I guess later down the course, but I completely blocked pain. I blocked all my friends, my family, the desire to be free. In my mind, it's like, I'm stuck here for 2 years. So those 2 years were the worst times of my life. But the second stint was the best, because that's where God truly changed my heart. You know, I'm not trying to sound over religious, but truly, like, you know, I've gone to church, but I couldn't care less about it. But it was there that Jesus just changed my heart, man.
You know, a lot of people say that, and they say exactly what you just said after that. It's like, yeah, every criminal finds God or Jesus in prison. But I think that has a lot to do with, because until you've hit that like real brick wall and you've given up, realizing that you can't have full control all the time, you got to kind of give in to a higher power. And for some people, a higher power is you know, religion, or is Jesus, or it could be, you know, Muslim religion, or it could be anything that gives you a purpose to realize that you're powerless over some of the, you're not powerless over your choices, but you're powerless over what's going to happen next, because your choices have consequences.
You know what's interesting though, because like when I have those conversations, I hear that, you know, but at the beginning, when on my second stint, I'm like, all right, Jesus, I guess you want me to follow you, because I've gone to church all my life, but I started treating Jesus like Santa Claus. Like, all right, if I behave well, you're going to get me out of here.
Right.
But when I said he transformed me, Dan, it was more like, whether you stay 1,000 years in prison or you leave, my passion for him was fervent.
It was there.
It was a complete transformation to say, I want nothing to do with him when I get out of jail. I'm just using him while I'm here, to saying, whoa, I want a relationship with you.
Yeah. I think that also is when you got people to go to like rehab and it doesn't work. And then all of a sudden it works.
Yeah.
I think when we decide that we really want to make the change, we use what's in front of us, God, because God was a big catalyst for me as well. And you're willing to put in the work now, because just because you're religious and you believe doesn't mean that you don't have to work for it. You can't just say, God, fix my life, and go rob houses, right? You gotta look at your choices, and you really got to think things through, and you change your life and you walk a different path.
Agreed.
So congratulations, man. It's when on the home invasion, did anybody get hurt?
No, that was not.
Because isn't home invasion mean somebody's home?
Someone is home. Yeah.
Okay.
So the intention was never to hurt anyone, but of course it left an eternal,
right,
you know,
emotional.
Yeah. To this day, I can't like I said, I blocked it.
Right.
I know what I did. I wish I could meet the family. You know that? I wish I could go back and
Do you know who they are?
no.
Okay.
I mean, I know if I can find the paperwork, you know.
You ever thought about sending them like a letter?
I'm not allowed.
Oh, you're not allowed.
I'm not allowed.
Okay.
You know.
Right.
That's well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know
maybe
if I'm
they're
allowed now.
If they're watching, if they happen to watch this video right now,
Right.
this can be a dear someone.
Dear someone. Yeah.
What make me cry?
Yeah.
What would you say to that family?
Well, outside of the fact that I'm sorry, you know, that I'm deeply regretful. Man, there's no words to say other than that. Really, that I'm ashamed. That I want nothing but pay anything that I can, even if it's one footstep of the Himalayas of apologies that you may receive from me, and that if I may do anything, I can do anything to relieve that tension or that fear, or at least even see my life, you know, see how that's transformed me. But dude, there's no words, you know, really, there's no words, because
I can only imagine like what potentially somebody would go through after that. Like every time they hear a sound, you know, that probably creates a level of PTSD.
Oh, big time. Because you mean, I go to sleep and I lock my doors. I got 4 kids, got to take care of. I got 2 dogs, but they'll probably help the robber to steal, you know. But I got to make sure I go put on the alarm, lock all the doors, even myself, knowing what's out there. But that was a hardworking family that did not ask for an intruder to come and put fear in their lives.
Yeah.
Even though in our hearts, we knew for a fact we were not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
But they didn't. And
I think in many times though, the intent, maybe there's no intent to hurt somebody, but if the guy comes downstairs with a gun and now you're battling with a gun and the gun goes off and shoots him instead, you know, it's like intentions don't mean jack shit. It's like the outcome of what happens. And the fact that you can sit here and talk about it and show remorse for what you did and put yourself in a situation where you're not blaming it on anybody else, you know. Somebody snitch, because most people I ever met in prison, you know, everybody tells on somebody, and everyone's like, oh, somebody snitched on me. It's like, you shouldn't be surprised when you're hanging around those types of people. Like you said, guy got wrapped up months and months later for something else, and then to get himself out of some trouble. That's why it's real important for us to walk that type of life now, where changing our people, our places, who are around, because now you're a convicted felon, right?
Yeah.
Did you reinstate your voting rights here in Florida yet?
Dude, I need to.
Okay,
I need to. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So you need to walk me through that, because
it depends who you're going to vote for before I help you.
We'll talk about that in another episode. You want to get in trouble. But no, I desperately need to, just to feel. It's just crazy, because voting doesn't make you a human, but there's a little part of you that you feel some normality, some norm. Because I can't get jobs that a normal person that doesn't have a background can, you know?
Can't own a gun.
I got a good friend who works with American Airlines. This dude gets to travel everywhere for free.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I wish I would have had that job, but I can't.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, our choices that we've made, even though we can repent, we can move on, we can reform, we can help others, it still will create a permanent brick wall from certain things that we'll never be able to do because of those past choices. Yeah. But I think we're all led into a direction, you know, and I mean, sure, I'm not going to say that I was supposed to do what I did to get to where I am. Yeah. But at some point we can either choose to take all of our fuck ups and our mistakes, and we can stay in the victim. Oh, this happened to me because I grew up in a poor household. This happened to me because I'm not a white guy. This happened to me because. But when we own it and take our responsibility, it gives you this new purpose to where you can really shape and become as it says on the board there, you can go from a convict to a community leader. There's going to be tons of haters. I'm sure I still get them to this day. Oh, you know, what you should have did is not committed the crime in the first place. Well, no shit, but I can't go back and undo the mistakes that I made. So you made these fuck ups when you were young. And now you're doing some amazing things and inspiring to do amazing things. what do you think gave you the most inspiration once your mind got right? And I know you're probably going to say religion, Jesus, but what else gave you, like, what do you inspire? What wakes you up every day now?
Yeah, my family. That's easy. It's my family. And here it's funny you asked that question, because I just had a conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and he's like, "Guys, look, I'm calling you because right now I have no desire, no drive, no purpose. What should I do?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm about to ask you to do something, and if you don't do it, don't call me, because then that means my advice means shit to you.
Right.
I want you to go get a haircut, take a shower, get dressed, really nice dress, put some cologne on, deodorant. I want you to go to the nearest funeral and sit there. Listen to the conversations of these people that are laying about, the family members of the dead body, of the deceased, Listen to that person's life. And then come call me." One thing I've learned, man, is that life is here. We're like a vapor, So I try to make sure that I invest as much time as I can. But outside of the fact that we're here today and gone tomorrow, I was just driving in Miami the other night, and like around 10 o'clock at night, and there was cops blocked the street. And as I'm turning, see a dead body lying down in the floor. And I'm like, that guy woke up today not knowing that he won't wake up tomorrow.
Wow. In Miami.
Well,
I mean, okay.
Not surprised, right?
Not surprised, but still that was just the other day.
That was just the other day. So in my mind, like, that dude woke up today not knowing there's no tomorrow. So because tomorrow never knows, you gotta truly invest today. A friend of mine once said, "Look, your legacy will not be of how many people come to your birthday parties, how many people come to your eulogy." And in reality, I could care less about how many people come. I just want my family to be there.
Right.
So yeah, my purpose, outside of course the religion of Christ and all of that, let's really talk about the media as well of my relationship with my family. Because man, I got 4 kiddos, I gotta feed them. But man, that put a fire over my ass to get something going. I have more time with them as well. But I also, one cool thing is, like, being an ex-convict, it was hard to get different jobs. But I'll tell you one place that gave me great opportunity was the nonprofit world, especially religious ones, because they know that you have a story. They're trying to reach people like you, or in worst cases. And because of those nonprofits, and they seen the transformation in my life, they gave me a chance where I was able to, sharpen my skills and find skills that I didn't know I didn't have. So while I cannot work for the, government or stuff like that, the nonprofit world, man, gave me an opportunity like no one else.
And you're part of a nonprofit now, correct? Or
I was.
Worked.
Yeah, I worked. So we were in 35 developing countries, helping feed, bring housing, education to, millions of children around the world, and families, for that case, microloans, clean water, and so on. So I was able to see people in worse scenarios than I was, right? And so I appreciated my situation more. But more than anything, it gave me empathy. And going back to one of the things that messed me up about blocking pain, when I went to prison, a lot of people, that's a survival skill, that you're like, all right, I'm going to block pain. And to me, that was wisdom at that time. But when I came out, whenever someone came and shared their trouble, I'm like, that's nothing.
Right.
So I had
nothing to you.
To me, yeah.
Right.
I had no empathy. I'm like, really? That's what you're crying about? Just get up and fix it.
Right.
But seeing the need in the developing countries, man, that opened my appetite for empathy for people's hurt and pains as well.
And really, everybody's what they're going through in the moment. For prison, for example, I got a relatively, compared to others, I got a short sentence, 42 months. To me, it felt like the end of the fucking world.
Is it because you're white?
That's why. Yeah.
So,
Is that why I feel like I got a short sentence?
Oh, you had a good lawyer.
This guy. No, I felt like it was the end of the world, man. I grew up in a privileged, when I say privileged life, I think I sometimes I hate to say this because it probably creates all kinds of conflict out there.
No, we want that though.
But when you think about like what systemic racism is as a white man and versus like a black man, for example, I used to be of the mindset, well, I grew up poor. they had it no different than me. And once I really started processing what it really means, when you talk about like white privilege, doesn't mean I was rich and white. It means that when I would walk down the street, I didn't have to worry about getting arrested or shot. When I was driving in the car, just because my windows were tinted, I didn't have to worry about getting pulled over. And when I did get pulled over, I never had to worry about being shot because of anything. And this is not that to me, that's what white privilege is never knowing what other people really practicing being empathetic. And prison, you know, when I have people now that are getting sentences of like 6 months and they're freaking out. And part of me wants to go, 6 months, that ain't shit. But at that moment, when I first got in trouble, if you had told me I was going to prison for 6 months, that would have felt like the end of the world too, because it's completely uprooting your life. And what you imagine something being like versus the reality, like you said, prison was much better than county jail. You wouldn't have known that at the time. My only experience with the judicial system was a little bit of county jail when I was younger for some dumb stuff. So when I got sentenced to prison, I imagined my prison experience being just like my county jail experience, but lengthened out. And it wasn't overall. But going back to what you said, whatever is on our plate seems full when it's in front of us compared to what somebody else. We don't know the journeys and the walks other people have made. And because of your journey and your ties to the community, you came up with this awesome idea, which the thumbnail of this video, Dear Someone Project. So I want to talk about Dear Someone Project. And is it better to let you explain it now, or we have the trailer of where you're being interviewed, or should we maybe go to the trailer first and then contrast?
So
maybe set up the trailer.
Let me, because the trailer for season 2. So, being a content creator, I got hired by a nonprofit to create a video that we're going to use in a gala. You know, a gala is this expensive dinner where a lot of, you know, rich people come in, have some great, amazing wine and drinks. And the organization talks about all the cool things that they're doing in the community to transform it, you know, for better families and so on. And rich people give to these needs.
Right.
So they said, you know, we need a video that's going to highlight our efforts to end human trafficking here in Fort Myers. And I'm like, oh, cool, man. I'm able to interview, you know, a survivor. Never met one.
Right.
You know? And so I talked to the director of the human trafficking organization there, and I'm like, all right, great. When can we get the survivor, you know, to me so I can talk about when we can get some days to interview her? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I need to bring my team so we can get some cameras, the audio, and just get the backstory, you know? You can give me her number if anything, you know. It's just like, no. She looked at me, she wanted to slap me, Dan. I mean, I was ignorant, dude.
Right.
I didn't know the situation. Now, I'm going to do a cool video.
Right. You had no intent to be a dick. You
You
weren't thinking the impact that this has on
but
her.
I felt like after what she told me, she's like, dude, are you nuts? These women are traumatized. That's when it hit me like a brick of wall. So I'm like, oh shit. But she continued. She didn't lift me off the slide. You know, she's like, these women, Gus, are hiding for their lives. Their perpetrators still out there. And you mean to tell me you want to film them? Then I had the audacity to say, well, can we blur them?
Blur them. Put a mask on them or something?
It's like, no, just retelling that story in front of strangers and camera. Because it wasn't just going to be me and her. I would have had my team come in, you know?
It's like full PTSD.
Oh, dude. So I realized, I'm like, okay, well, number one, I felt like a dick because I didn't understand the situation. And number two, I had a problem. How am I going to create a video without a character?
Right.
So that's when I came out with the Dear Someone project. What I started thinking that weekend is, what if they were to write a letter, a Dear Someone letter, an anonymous letter about their story? And what if each story would end the same way? Sincerely, a survivor, or sincerely, someone. And you have to have a call to action, Dan, especially for nonprofits. One thing I've learned, you cannot tell a story with a call to action. What if the call to action in the letter was, P.S., would you be my voice? So I started thinking, I'm like, oh man, I love this idea. So I called the president of the organization. I'm like, look, you're going to pay me for these videos, but this is going to be my idea because I have a dream with it. So I created a website, created a YouTube channel, an Instagram and Facebook. And I came out with what I call season 1, which was 5 episodes on on human trafficking, and it was so fast I didn't have time to really promote it.
Right.
But I got people to come and read it, and you'll see in the video. But the trailer for the second, what we're about to show, I guess, is why I partner with and why the topic. Because the first topic on season 1 was human trafficking. The second topic was on mental health, and I guess that will tell why I started.
And real quick, before we jump over to this, the people that are reading this, who is it? Just random people to come in to read, or how do you find them?
So the first season, it was a lot of them my friends. I was like, hey, I got a project. Okay, cool. What is it? I can't tell you.
Because you don't want to give them. You want the raw emotion.
I want the raw emotions.
Yeah, which you definitely fucking nailed,
dude. We had one girl really crying, hyperventilating. Thank God there was a lady there that, she's a counselor.
Oh, is that the lady that comes and hugs her at the end?
Yeah,
I saw this.
She's the director, actually.
Andre, let's jump over to his YouTube channel, of the one where I think it's that one, and hit the full screen on it.
Yeah, so I'm about to explain why I did season 2.
Okay, so let's watch this real quick. This is Gus Cruz.
First season, I thought about what would be the perfect topic for the second season. I had so many different avenues that I could have gone to, but I always thought about also the organization we want to work with, because this is not just about telling stories, but also raising awareness of the organizations that are in the front line helping the cause, to fight against human trafficking, to fight against hunger, to fight against mental health, and so on. And so I had a few options of where to go. But it wasn't until one evening, a good friend of mine, his wife sent me a message through Facebook. And her and I really don't communicate that way. It was only him and I who had that friendship, but she asked me to give her a call. And I thought the worst. I thought that my friend Robert had gone back to jail, because that's actually where we met, and we became really good friends. And so when I called her, I asked her what was going on. And that's when she told me that Robert took his own life. That he decided to end it, to leave this earth. He couldn't take life anymore. He got a gun, went to the backyard while his family was inside, and just said goodbye. And it was tough for me to receive that news, because this is a man that in prison, when we were together, we prayed, we read the Bible, we evangelized to others. We would, sharpen each other's understanding of the beauty of the gospel. And when we both came out, we both shined in our own ways, still going through up and downs, but still strong in the Christian faith. And every single time I would talk to him, he would encourage me to read more, to pray more, because that's what he would do. This was a guy that would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to read and pray. So it was a devotion that he had that I didn't have at that time. But it helped me understand that you can be going to church, have a really deep relationship with God, but still be battling mental health. And he lost that battle, but because of the faith that we have in Christ, I know that Jesus won the war for him. So while his wife and kids are suffering, and especially his mom, I know that their hope and faith is that Christ, number one, has given the opportunity to be with him in eternity. And two, the family is dealing with that loss and with that grief and that mourning, in the hope that Jesus will comfort them until he comes back. So when he went through that, I felt compelled that I had to do season 2 on mental health. And I reached out to an organization that has helped me in a few ways, and other people that I care about. And that was Wellsprings Miami Counseling Service. It's a counseling center. And spoke to Toba, showed her the vision, and she's like, let's do it. And we're excited to announce that we already filmed. It's right now in the editing process. And I'm thankful for everybody that not only came to read, but also that for Wellsprings to give us the opportunity and the trust to do this project together.
Man, so this is what the inspiration came from, mental health tying into suicides, which has probably grown dramatically even since pandemic.
Yeah.
And this was a friend of yours.
Yeah, he's a real good friend. I mean, we lived together in jail, you know, like this is a guy that we live life.
And
good guy.
And he did this while his family was home, just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's he had a strong spiritual life, but that doesn't mean that the demons of mental health are not continuing to come and haunt you. So that's when I started seeing the reality. You know, someone can go to church or have this deep relation with God, but still have mental health issues. You still got to take care of it. And I don't know if he saw someone professionally. So that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm jacked up. You know, I did my 4 years in prison. There's issues about me. I seen it in my own marriage and my own friends, you know, workplace and so on, how it affects me. So yeah, so I definitely did season 2 on mental health. It was interesting because, you know, mental health is so broad. It was not just on suicide. We saw a letter on ADHD. Literally, when the guy was reading the letter, I turned to my other videographer. I'm like, dude, did I write that? Because literally it hit me. Like, I'm like, oh my God, that's my letter. It sounds just like me, you know? We had other people that were reading it. They're like, yo, it sounds like I would have wrote it. So it's really, really interesting how mental health affects so many people, man.
It's a very relatable topic, but it's so taboo that you put everybody in a room together and they're all struggling, but they're keeping it to themselves and they're getting no help, no support because nobody wants to talk about it. They feel they're weak. They're going to look lesser than
especially
men. Especially men. It's hard being a man sometimes, you know, when you carry that burden that shouldn't be there. Removing it is hard, but once you start to remove it, you know, allowing a vulnerable side, getting in touch with our feminine side of us, you know, it sounds ridiculous to say, oh, I don't have a feminine side. I only got a rough and burly side. But it's the truth, man. It's doesn't make you gay, doesn't make you less. And if you are gay, nobody cares about that either anymore. But just because you can cry, you can give hugs, you can tell people when you're hurting, you can ask for help. In some ways, I think that's probably more alpha than what we've given definition of alpha. You know, you don't need to run around beating your chest.
Yeah, I agree.
So congrats, man. Look, I got to tell you guys. So I was telling him when I met him, my YouTube channel, we have another on our other channel, Wise Media Group. We have a segment
which
on
is
there.
Also a brilliant idea. You're about to say,
trying. Perfectly Broken is where we bring in people that have overcome obstacles, whether it be mental health issues, rape, survivors, things like that. And they tell their story. And then he's like, oh, I got something similar. And this was not like a meeting. This wasn't like a convention where a bunch of entrepreneurs and creators get together. I just happened to go somewhere that I've been a million times and have never seen anybody there in this realm. And here are people not only doing a podcast, then you come up.
I thought you were invited there, man.
I just, you know, I was on my way there. I've got a friend that's got an office space in there. And I was on my way and he's like, oh, I'm not there today. And I Googled the place and it said closed. And I know you need like a key fob and stuff to get in. And I was like, you know what? Because it's like a 30-minute drive. I was like, I'm still going to go down there. And when somebody comes out, I'm just going to go in. Because really my goal was, there's all kinds of cool little spots in that in there. And I thought I just needed some positive reinforcing inspiration. I thought I would just see a name on a door and go, oh, there's somebody I might want to interview. I was thinking, maybe fun place to interview people for my podcast. And then there you guys were on a Saturday. Never seen anybody there on a Saturday before. So it was almost like the stars aligned, whatever juju was going on. So I tell you about this thing I got, and then you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing. And you showed it to me. And I think I told you, man, this is awesome. And you're like, thank you. And I was like, well, let me say that again, because a lot of people will tell you, oh, you're so amazing or you're great. But when you ask them, why am I amazing? Why am I great? Sometimes they can't tell you, which means you've got this blown up head and everyone's patting you on the back, but really they're just fucking saying it to be nice. dude, sincerely, like I was like, I got to get this guy here on my show.
Yeah.
I want to talk about his story. He's been to prison. He's in the same world that I'm in, and he's out there growing and going through the struggle. And it's so amazing. And we're going to actually show people part of an episode. Now, the episode we got, it's the gentleman. Is this episode 1 or 2? I mean, season 1 or 2.
This is the first episode for season 2.
First episode of season 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was a letter that you received from a
so what happens when I partner with nonprofits, right? Like the first one was Catholic Charities. That was season 1. They provide the letters from the people that they're helping. So it's not like we make up those letters. These are actual
the letters
people.
are sent to you.
Yeah. Actual people that are being provided the help from the organization. So season 2, we partnered with the nonprofit called Wellsprings Counseling Center. So they have past stories, or because they can't use any present stories, or counseling center. So any past stories that, they talk to the clients, hey, would you be able to provide a letter for us? They do is. Now I've had people send me messages, hey, can we send you a letter? I'm like, I would love to, but right now I'm just working with nonprofits where I know I can say, yeah, I believe that these letters are true.
Right.
Right.
You're getting it from a source.
A source, correct. A legit source that's verified.
Or else it could be some guy just writing random letters for a YouTube channel.
And by the way, I'm still thinking of, the Dear Someone experience. We'll talk about that some other episode, hopefully. But,
okay. Oh, dude, this has sparked ideas for me that it's even once. Look, I believe the best form of flattery is imitation. So if I see something that I like Joe Rogan's studio, I imitated Joe Rogan's studio. Your podcast or your Dear Someone is so amazing that it's making me kind of rework what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because it's such a different level of power. I'm really like, I'm a fucking fanboy of Dear Someone for sure. Like I'm gonna get it on my bumper sticker. Like,
I appreciate it, man, because this is brand new. And I say it's new, it's like we just hit a year mark in January.
Guys, make sure you subscribe to it's in there's a link in the description of this video. I know this video will get more views. It's early in the day. Usually when we go live, it's like 7 or 8 at night. So when you guys are watching this on replay, there's a description in the description of this video. There's links for all of this stuff, but specifically go to the Dear Someone.
Yeah, don't follow me. Follow Dear Someone Project. That's
subscribe
that's
and let them know you're here from RDAP Dan, so we can show some community support. I want to bring up this next episode, Andre, over on YouTube. Andre's gonna get us going over here. Remember to hit there we go. No, 4. There we go. So set us up real quick on who is this guy?
So it's a guy named Nat Daniels. He's a local hip hop artist in Miami. He's someone I reached out to. He had already seen season 1.
Okay.
So he somewhat have an idea, but the thing is, I never tell them the topic.
Right.
So season 1, everybody saw there was human trafficking.
So he probably assumed it was going to be based on human trafficking.
Well, I told him, look, it's a different topic. I just can't tell you what it is.
Okay.
Or even for the 3rd season, I already got it approved. I can't even say that,
Bro, this is the one that I watched, and this, oh my God, if this doesn't bring tears to somebody's eyes watching, they've got a heart of stone.
You might want to fast forward a bit. Hit
what?
You see where it says teaser, I think.
Teaser?
Yeah, because it'll take you to the next chapter, I believe.
Do we want to hit teaser?
Well, I just don't want to waste y'all time with the beginning. Let me see if you could click there, maybe. Yeah.
Click there, Andre. Let's see where we're at.
I'm one.
So that's when he starts reading the letter.
Okay, so we'll take it from here.
Dear someone, I was called into the office to speak with my son's VPK principal. As funny it says VPK because today I just assigned my my son a VPK. That's not a coincidence. That's crazy. I didn't know what to expect from the conversation that was about to happen. She sat me down and told me that a girl from his class innocently kissed him without his permission during nap time. They were found under the covers giggling. Out of nowhere, a tear came down my brown eyes. I was not expecting this type of emotion, but quickly I knew where it derived from. My son has the same age when I first lost my virginity. I was only 5 years old when 2 different women sexually abused me. Living in a fatherless home, my mom had to work extra hours to provide the essentials we needed. This, of course, led me to be babysat a lot. One afternoon, one of the babysitters asked me to come into her room. She undressed and asked me to touch her. Like a 5-year-old, I didn't know what I was doing, but she coached me on every step. I kept this a secret from my mom because this woman told me it was our secret. It wasn't long after a different young woman did the same to me. This made me think it was completely normal. I thought this was the cool thing to do since these older women coached me into not feeling shame. This experience confused me and made me more curious. These 2 women shattered my innocence into pieces. I no longer thought about watching G.I. Joe cartoons. I didn't care about video games or playing outside with my friends. I saw my mind cluttered with pornographic scenes of that afternoon. This created an urge to experience more with women. I never thought that I would crave to have more sex at a young age. I grew up bragging about it throughout middle school and high school. Thankfully, when I was introduced to sports when I turned 9, I fell in love with the game of football and basketball. I also was able to experience a male role model in my life. My mother remarried to a good guy who took me in. He taught me how to cook, fish, fix cars, and other house fixtures. He took the role that my father should have given me. This helped me put away all those sexual fantasies or urges I had. But when puberty hit, I came back to those thoughts and vividly remembered all I went through. This, of course, turned me into a womanizer and saw women as sexual objects instead of beautiful souls. I thought manhood was about jumping around from girl to girl. I thought manhood was about raising the number of people I slept with. I thought manhood was about being this player who was able to conquer women just for sex. I didn't know the pain it was causing me until my later years. In my late 20s, I finally started realizing every relationship ended because of my cheating habits. I realized I didn't know how to love or properly treat a woman. I also hated seeing happy couples because I knew I was far from ever falling in love. This led me to be somewhat depressed and added another layer of apathy towards women. It took 30 plus years to find the love of my life. She knew of my struggles, walked me through with conversations, and sought marriage counseling. I can't tell you that it has been perfect. I still battle with my demons, but I have someone I can talk to and a community of friends and counseling professionals I can turn to help. I am now more aware of what a real husband and father looks like. A man who will be faithful and true to this one woman, and a father who loves his children unconditionally. This is why I teared up when I found out my son had his first kiss. I don't want him to experience 1% of what I went through. I want him to enjoy playing hide and seek. I want him to feel free to only think about sports and his family. I want him to live life as every child should live. Every time I see a story of a girl or boy experiencing sexual abuse, I cringe. Every time I hear someone sharing the same experience, I cringe. Every time I think of what I went through, I cringe. Thankfully, I can now freely say that I was a victim of sexual abuse and share with others that women are not the only ones who go through sexual abuse. Although this is a continuous fight to heal, I am free to give my family all of me. Sincerely, someone. P.S. Would you be my voice? It's powerful. I say it's powerful because that last paragraph I read about all the things that he want. Man, I told you not to make me cry, bro. All the things that he want for his son is the things I want for myself.
Dude. He's feeling the emotions there for sure.
It was interesting. It's
I've watched this 3 times now, and it's still the end of that chokes me up every time.
It all started actually with him identifying that he just placed his son on VPK that same day. So like you said, the stars aligned, you
And
know.
you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I just felt because he's a father, like I am, you know, that's the letter that he would want to read. And it choked him up, man. Definitely did. I appreciate Knack for coming on board.
And that's a friend of yours?
That's a good friend of mine. Yeah.
So I'm sure he's watched it 100 times himself, probably.
Yeah.
Is it hard for people that come on when they do this? Do they like to go back and watch it, or do they struggle watching this?
You talking about the writers or the readers?
Well, no, the reader. Wait, you don't know who the writers are?
Nah.
No, I mean the readers, like your buddy there, Nat is his name?
Knack. Yeah. So it's interesting. No, they enjoy it. So the first season was all my friends. Second season, I put up an ad on my Instagram, and people that started following the channel like, hey, I want to be part of it. So we had so many different people, and also the organization has, volunteers or other people that could come on board, not knowing what they were going to come into. So it was more than just my friends and my homies coming on board. But yeah, no, they enjoy it. We're able to give them a true story and give them the opportunity to respond and be a voice.
To the people that are watching right now, to my viewers that are watching this, anybody that relates to anything, maybe you've gone through something yourself, maybe your family member has, I would encourage you, send me an email or a private message, because this might encourage others to come out of their box. And everybody wants to share their story, but like you said, not everybody wants to be that vulnerable. So if you're interested in sharing your story and you've got a powerful message that you feel might be able to help others, share your story. We can maybe do something with it on
that'd be cool.
Keeping them anonymous. Because dude, it's the reason why it's a brilliant idea. I mean, the creator in me, the business side of me, I'm like, wow, this is something people want to see. But it's such a natural gravitating pull to who wouldn't read this or watch this and find benefit, even if you haven't struggled at all in your life. Understanding what somebody else may have gone through, because a lot of people think mental health is bullshit. Oh, it's bullshit. Just snap out of it, and it affects different people different ways, and we never know how somebody started struggling with mental health or what the early seeds that were planted, like this guy who's had a kid now, and his kid just had what should be like, oh, my kid had his first kiss in school. That would be, in a lot of people, oh, congratulations, son. But this guy sees it as brings him back to sexual abuse.
And it's interesting because like we had one of the letters where the girl talks about her 3rd birthday party and her desire not to want to be there. She was already feeling suicidal at the age of 3. And then I'm like, it's kind of hard to believe that, even the reader was like, I can't think of myself thinking that when I was 3. So I put the promo on TikTok, and sure enough, within an hour, I see a little comment of a guy that said, my first attempt was at 10. I'm like, shit. Like, yo, that blew my mind. And of course, I quickly responded, thank you for being strong. And so and then another lady is like, oh, this is a story of my son. It reminds me of my son. He died in a fire with my grandchild. Please share his story as well. And then other people are starting to send some DMs about their situation. And man, like we're a jacked up world, but we're humans. We have feelings. We should care. So it's interesting to have a platform like the one you have with the prison letters. I thought that was brilliant, by the way.
Thank you.
I thought like, oh, that's amazing. So it came out of a challenge of creating a video, but now it became a passion of mine because I'm not stopping here. I'm already partnering with other nonprofits for this.
Dude, it's such a door opening thought process of ideas. And people say all the time, like the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. But also the pathway to amazing things sometimes can be paved with maybe my intentions were shitty in the beginning.
Yeah.
I just wanted some viewers and I wanted some awesome content.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, holy fuck, people are like writing and I'm changing people's lives. It's like that scene in Spider-Man with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you've got this responsibility
Yeah.
to, sure, you got to make a living and feed your family, but we draw lines in the sand now. There's things that there might be things that you're no longer willing to do.
Yeah.
Because of the impact that it can have on others. Home invasions.
Yeah.
It's not just going somewhere where you shouldn't go. You're potentially mentally fucking somebody up for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And those are ripples that can't be taken back, but it's now giving you this opportunity to, I don't want to say fix that mistake, because that person, I always ask people when they ask for forgiveness, right? Let's say I was the person that you home invaded,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, Dan, I'm sorry. My question to you would be like, why are you sorry? And if your answer is because I want you to forgive me, well, I'm not, whether I do or not, I'm not going to fucking tell you.
Yeah.
If your reason was because I need to forgive myself, I can't undo it. I need to move on from it. I am sorry. And if it ruined your life, I'm so sorry. But at the same time, I can't live with, you have to do it for yourself as well. So when you say sorry for the right reasons,
yeah.
I believe it moves mountains, because if I tell you to go fuck yourself after you said sorry to me, you're like, that's fine. You can feel that way. But if you're like, oh man, I said sorry, that means you were doing it for one purpose. And that was because you wanted forgiveness.
Self-gratifying.
Right. And that's not the reasons. They tell that in the, in the big book and stuff, when you're going through your 12 steps, you go back to your victims, go back to people, you say sorry. It's a way of cleansing yourself. When you talk about sins and asking for forgive me for my sins, you're not saying, you don't go commit a crime and just go get forgiven because you say, I'm sorry. You say you're sorry because you really internally mean it, no matter how it affects other people. Yeah. So dude, what you're doing, just, oh my God, dude, it's like, it's snotting out of my nose the whole episode. It's just so powerful, because it's not like you're knocking down doors. You don't have, millions of dollars flying in from this. This is a passion project.
Yeah. And I got to give a shout out to my boy Bugsy, who's the guy on my right-hand side I'm doing the videos with. This guy he does a lot of the BTS for like Bad Bunny, Mark Anthony, and all these big names. And when I told him about this project, he's like, dude, I'm in. It's like, okay, how much you going to charge us? No, I'm in. When I told him about season 2, about, why we're doing mental health, I told him, look, my friend committed suicide and that's why I want to do it. He's like, bro, I'm in because my brother committed suicide. I'm like, oh, shit.
Dude, it's something that it's so needed and so powerful that anybody with a fraction of common sense would just understand that getting involved with something like this, if you do it for the right reasons, everything else, money, views, all that stuff, that will automatically happen. It's just a time of traction.
Yeah.
The studio that you guys shot this in, is that your studio? Is that a studio you rented?
Yeah. So we did rent it, and that was at a very homey price too. It was a guy who showed a lot of love in Dan Hialeah. He has this amazing studio. And I told him about this, look, we're doing these videos. I told him the concept. He's like, bro, I'm in. The dude gave me the keys. I had it for the whole night. Just make sure you lock up with the alarm.
You did all that in one night?
All that in one night.
Oh, so you knocked out the whole season.
Knocked out the whole season.
So everybody was there.
It's cost effective.
That's a great, that's another brilliant idea. I'm sitting here doing Perfectly Broken, bringing one person in at a time, trying to build the season of it. That's the way to do it. So, obviously, so I thought you lived in Miami. You live in Port St. Lucie, which is not nearly as far away.
No, not far.
Dude, mi casa, you casa, full use of the studio, man.
Yeah.
Because it's a cool thing, and it's kind of like I get paid in either money or I get paid in energy. Like those are the two forms of payment I take, bro. And this is a really good energy. So it's like, man,
I'm excited, bro. Cause like, some of the stuff that you sent me and some of your ideas, especially the one on prison letters, dude, that's something that, I got some cool ideas to hit by you on that one.
Yeah. I would love to have some of your people read my letters going from the prison experience.
No, definitely. And I have some, organizations that work in prison that will definitely want to partner with you.
Andre, what's our time at on
We're at an hour.
Okay, we're at an hour, so we'll probably wrap. So what I would like to get some feedback from people that are watching this right now, and I think then I would like to do another episode with you sooner than later,
Yeah,
maybe next week if you're
Yeah, cool.
around. I'd like to get you in on Perfectly Broken. I've got a surprise for you that I want to do with you on there. I'm not going to tell anybody about it because it's going to be a good one. But let's bring up his social media, Andre. Let's go over to Instagram and stuff. And so this is I know you're on all kinds of social media, but Instagram is the one that you fall back on mostly, right?
Yeah.
So what do we get real quick? Let's kind of go through some of his Instagram. On this top left, who is this artist? She looks like
Yeah.
Angela, what's her name?
Her name is Angela Hunt. She actually wrote the anthem for New York.
She wrote the anthem.
What I mean by that, she wrote Empire State of Mind.
Okay. So people that don't know, Empire State of Mind is the actual anthem for
New York.
Is it New York State or New York City?
New York. Everybody in New York likes that song.
Okay, I picture like New York City when I okay. So let's click on that. Is that a video?
Yeah, it's just a promo. Yes.
Let's click on it. Hit the volume button, and then replay it.
I'm yours. You're mine. I'm giving you a piece of mind. Thanks a lady love. Too many runs, I'll be stuck. I'm telling you right now, I ain't giving up. You promised I was good enough, but you know you.
So you shot
that
video.
Yeah.
You did everything here minus the audio. That was done.
Yeah,
in
that was definitely her voice. Yeah.
But I mean, that was all done in studio.
Yeah.
But you did the lighting, you did the videography on this.
Yeah.
And this is all from no knowledge of.
No YouTube.
Okay.
I mean, just YouTube. Excuse me.
Let's hit the back button on his Instagram. And pull up button 4. There we go. So now, is that Mark Anthony to the right?
Yeah. So my friend Bugsy hooked me up that day. He's like, "Hey man, my back's hurting. I need you to come and shoot Mark Anthony." I'm like, "Really? It's like my idol, dude."
Tell people who doesn't know who Mark Anthony is.
You know, it's funny. So for the Hispanics, we all know Mark Anthony,
right?
But for the Caucasians, we're like, "Oh, that's J-Lo's ex-husband." You're like, "Oh, okay, now I know who Mark Anthony is."
They're all thinking, "Oh, I thought this was the guy from the Roman Empire days, Mark Anthony."
Yeah.
So Mark Anthony, J-Lo's ex. So this is an interview. What is this little?
No, it's just a picture.
Oh, it's just a picture.
Yeah,
Click on the
just a
picture, Andre. Look at him.
So you go to the next picture right there. You hit on the arrow. It's
Right there you go.
So what? So I finally got to see him in action. So he was doing a song with Daddy Yankee, and I got to see him create the melodies. He brought the trumpet player, the trombone, the drums, and all of that. And I got to see him in action, bro. This guy's not just amazing on stage, but dude, like his.
No, leave that there. And then just go to 3.
But his desire to make every song perfect, it was phenomenal. So the guy next to him is Sergio.
The ball black
Yeah,
dude?
ball. That's his creator, bro. Like all the hit songs, the diamonds that he's been doing.
Right.
That's with him.
Okay.
So whenever they have an idea, they whisper to each other. Says, "Yeah, let's do this, do that."
There's always a front man. There's always a collaborator in the background.
Yeah, I was very amazed how he worked. His work ethic was. I mean, we heard that song over 300 times that night.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. I was tired. I didn't want to hear that song ever again. Great song, but I was tired for those 6 hours.
It's
man.
kind of what the radio does. It'll burn out a song on you,
bro. All in one night, burned it out for me. It's a great song. One of my favorites that he did. It was the first time he actually had met Daddy Yankee like that.
And it seems like the career path you've chosen, it also opens lots of doors. You know, like I said, you don't always get paid with money, but connections and power.
Yeah,
those are worth it.
Yeah, that's my favorite artist, bro. For Hispanics,
bro. And
I got to like meet him. That was dope. That was like,
I'm from the South Florida area, so like I feel like a part of Miami. So very, very, very well aware. Now, I pride myself on loving to learn, and I love videos. I like to go out and drone.
Yeah.
You got an eye and a knack for video, for shots, for angles. Andre, if you go up to the tab where it says cruise on camera, I think that's the one, right?
Yeah.
And let's put this on the large screen, and let's hit play on. Or yeah, there you go. Dude, that's super Andre. So Andre's also, he likes dabbling into commercials and stuff like that. Andre, what do you think when isn't that pretty fucking impressive?
That is amazing. And in fact, before the podcast, I was telling him that I want him to take a look at my stuff. But now I'm a little embarrassed. Now I'm like, man, I shouldn't have said that. I should have looked at his stuff before I said that.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's this just goes to show you, for people that are out there that are inspiring artists, inspiring videographers, you don't need $1 million equipment anymore.
You don't.
You need a decent phone. I mean, a lot of stuff. I know you've got some high-tech gear, but I imagine there's a lot of stuff that you're like, that's done with an iPhone.
Yeah. I seen that. I actually had to use an iPhone one time while I was waiting for my camera gear, and it worked fine. People did not know it was an iPhone,
bro. And they have cameras on these phones now are so intense.
You got to put on cinematic mode though.
Yeah.
All right. For those that have the iPhone, we got to put on cinematic mode, or else you're not going to get that effect.
Oh, and you like to play with your drone. You said you had the DJI 2, right?
Yeah.
Maverick 2?
Yeah.
Air 2 or Mini?
The Mavic Pro 2.
Okay, Pro 2.
Yeah.
I've got the Mini 2.
That's good.
Andre, that was my first drone.
Okay.
Andre and I went out and did this event for we like to go out to people that do the trade show events, like the booths.
Yeah.
And the people that are creating the event coordinator brings us out, where we take this entire setup that we have right here, and we mobilize it and create like a live stream broadcast. And we wanted to do some drone footage, and I called a friend of mine who's got a drone, and even at the friend price, I was still going to spend a couple $100 for a day, because it really is a lot of work with a drone, burning through batteries, things like this. So we were like, what's the cheapest drone in the market I can get? I got the DJI Mini 2, which you don't need a license for to fly. So it was fantastic. And aren't they fun, Andre? Like, we've had some fun with that drone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only fun, but the footage is great on them,
Hey, how nervous were your fingers when you were like,
well, I have not flown it.
He's too scared to fly it. But dude, I've gotten pretty nervous, bro. I've crashed it a couple times. I've actually literally got duct tape on it, because I had the duct tape. It's the Heart of Miami, dented up, beat up, held together car, but it's built with love. It looks like we got one comment in the room. Go ahead and click on that comment, Andre, if you see it. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So MK says, I love the conversation. So glad I found you all this morning. I have great memories spending time at Port St. Lucie.
Hey,
MK, thanks for watching. So
a lot of loving memories. What was it?
I I gotta wonder where did you come from to love Port St. Lucie? But it kind of ties back into I've only got a 6-month sentence versus the 42-month sentence. You might live in the middle of like Idaho, on a farm, and he's never seen a bikini before until he came to Port St. Lucie. So to each their own. We're a little bit spoiled, bro. Coming from the South Florida area. Yeah. Port St. Lucie, Melbourne, to us, this is like retirement home living, slow. But to other people, this is still moving pretty quick.
So I did a documentary called Explore God Miami, and one of the ladies said something. He says, South Florida, it's like that story where a fish went to other fishes and says, wow, it's wet here. And the people are like, what do you mean? What's water? What's wet? And that's diversity for South Florida.
Yeah.
that we take it for granted. You know, the diversity from now West Palm all the way down to Miami. You're like, man, you see Hispanics, whites, blacks, Asians, Middle East,
And you see a different attitude, a different mentality.
even within those
Very,
concepts. You know,
it's very quick there.
Yeah.
Everything's like there's no bullshit.
nah,
It's not like I'm gonna leisure through Miami. Like you better go through Miami with your ninja sword, have your wits about you,
and your passport.
your passport. Everything's just so fast.
Yeah,
My daughter, she on her 21st birthday, I've got she's 22 now.
Yeah.
I got a 22-year-old, and my younger is about to be 21.
Yeah.
For her 21st birthday, she lives in New York City. So she's, New York City's pretty like hustle and bustling too, right? She owns her own tattoo business. She's
that's
awesome.
dope.
Shout out to Caitlin Wise. She's an amazing tattoo artist. But she's
Tell
like,
my friend Angela about it.
she's like, I want to go to Miami. I want to go try Miami. I'm like, babe, it's a different world down there. She's like, I can't. So I decided to go while she was there. I let her go do her own thing. She had her own hotel, but I was there just in case because Miami to me is different. Dude, she lasted a night and she calls me up crying because she's used to Miami where it's like she's tattooed up. Everywhere in Miami, people are looking at her like she was like a freak and crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just different
It's so
world.
superficial, bro. I ain't lie to you. It is.
It's got some good parts too, but at the same time, it's I can't do Miami.
I can't do it either.
I can barely do I can't even do Palm Beach County anymore.
I'm telling you, Miami has gone up.
It has, bro. But in South Florida, I was just a little fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
Coming here in Melbourne, I feel like it's so much easier to move here.
Yeah.
Like make moves, move around, because nothing here is shocking me. What I see other people struggling with, and it's like I feel for them. I have empathy for them, but I feel privileged that I came from where I came from because it built so much more. Like lockdown didn't do shit to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was frustrating. It sucked, but I was in prison.
Yeah.
I was used to a structure, like do this. And I understand why other people is like, oh my God, I can't go do this. I can't use my cell phone. I can't do this. In prison, not having a cell phone was probably the weirdest thing at first. I'd walk the track and I would feel my leg vibrate. I'd reach for my phone, like a phantom phone, and I see the struggles that people go through. So I try to, instead of going, oh, you don't even know what it's like, I try to be grateful.
Yeah.
I'm not always happy in life, but I'm always finding reasons to be grateful for the situation.
So you're a half full type of guy, half full glass type of guy.
I try, man, because look, it's easy to be empty.
So
I could find a million things to complain about in life, what's going wrong in life. And if I focus on all that negativity, it feels like I'm not going to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
And similar to like what you told the guy, you're like, comb your hair, brush your teeth, go to a funeral. Giving people, you're telling the guy, go change your life, but you're giving him action. You're giving him something like
tangible,
action-based to go do. And we help people with our clients that are hiring us for prison consulting. When somebody's getting ready to go to prison, it can, as you know, it can create a very overwhelming feeling of darkness and dismay, and your life is over. Getting people out of that, it's not just saying, well, you got to focus on the positives.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what they got to do, but how does that work? When you get up in the morning, make your bed. Before you go to bed at night, do the dishes. Create some clarity, a level of clear-mindedness in your world, because if you add chaos to it, it's only going to intensify the already negative shit. And we've got all these mental health issues we're talking about, and Prozac and all these pills that people are taking, which are very well needed. But if you're taking the medication to fix your life and you're not using the medication to help you identify, like I've come to the realization that I'm not a big football fan, but I love the Buffalo Bills because of my team from a kid. And when they're losing, it creates a level of anxiety and stress and anger.
Yeah.
And I already have anxiety, PTSD type issues. So I started removing things like, do I really love football that much to the point where I'm going to let it get me angry, raise my voice in the house? It scares my dog. It aggravates Shelly. Or do I just either watch a game that's not my team or just get rid of football altogether? I get rid of football, because making those kind of choices will enhance and allow people to do the things that you're doing, making moves, having fun while you're doing it. I got to meet your kid for a moment. He was there with you. He was bored out of his mind. And I got to see you in father mode, and you were, you had to go too. Your wife's blowing up your phone. Like, I got to get out of here. They're still doing the podcast back there. what do you want to leave people here with? What are some things like, and we're going to let you take us out. So tell us, what's next for you, and what is a message you could leave somebody that they can chew on for the rest of the afternoon? So leave them with a gold nugget.
Yeah, man, there's so much wisdom that we've learned over time. But if you're an entrepreneur, don't reinvent yourself when you made it to the top. Obviously, don't reinvent yourself when you're coming down the top. Reinvent yourself when you get there. If you're not an entrepreneur and you're looking into doing videos and so on, make it a good hobby, and if your desires and passion leads you to continue learning, you put some time in that YouTube Academy, man. It'll make it happen.
YouTube Academy.
The YouTube Academy. But more than anything, one thing that I shout out to my wife, she's taught me is be a husband and a father first and foremost. Because it's so easy as a man, to say, shit, I have a background. If I don't get this, I'm not going to get that other gig. And then we're going to go broke and we're going to be living in the streets. I got to work. And what she's taught me is, be a husband and a father first. Take care of that. And God will take care of everything else. Just don't be lazy.
Amen, bro. Well said. Gus, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're going to have you back here next week. Do I get a commitment from you?
Let's do it.
What's the audience is watching. So this is on accountability. What day?
I commit. Let's see. Look at my calendar.
So you get his calendar.
Yeah. I got to see what it's looking like.
MK says he loves lemon trees. Club Med. Oh, his dad. Oh, your dad's in what's Club Med? Is he about Club Fed? I don't know. Is Club Med a place in Port St. Lucie?
Bro, the only club is Club Bed with DJ Pillow. That's
DJ
all
Pillow.
I see.
DJ Pillow.
The 7th, bro.
7th. What day is that?
That's a Tuesday.
So next Tuesday,
we're
going to have you back.
Yeah.
It's not going to be live. So Gus, man, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in,
man. Definitely. It's been good.
All right, Andre, take us out. Andre's got to find the stop button and all that